So from Aries Nutrition, from the Aries Nutrition family, for all of you guys, thank you so much for coming. My goal was to put these things together for you guys to give you access to pros that normally you don't have access to, other than like massive expos, Arnold Olympia, or some kind of massive show. So for those who see the benefit of being able to speak to the individuals we look up to and we listen to, thank you for coming. Next, thank you so much for the pros that were able to make it. Look, a lot of guys that aren't here, they had different engagements they had to do. So things happen. So it's nothing wrong, but the guys here did make it. So thank you so much. And in the corner, we have Akeem, Justin. You guys know Victor, George, Eric, and the other Justin. All right. So guys, what we're doing, what we're gonna do is basically, I'll basically go around with the mic. Whoever has a question can ask the pros, whatever it is. They're here for you guys. So just let everybody know how your career started. What's your big highlight? What's your career going forward? And then everybody will kind of represent themselves, and
Cool.
then we'll just go from there.
Excellent. So I first started off as a coach, coaching a lot of, professional athletes, MMA fighters, and things of that nature. I'm a sports nutritionist. I'm a master trainer. So when I got to the point of helping other competitors win their pro cards, I started reaching out to them like, hey, I want to kind of put some stuff together, highlight you guys, put a little mural together. Where they're like, man, you always in shape. So why don't you get your own? So I said, all right, cool. I've been bodybuilding since I was younger. So I'm a vegan professional bodybuilder. I've been plant-based my whole life. I'm Native American. It's a cultural thing for me. So I wind up just competing. I'm very competitive. So I'm not the biggest guy on stage. So my goal is I'm just going to come in diced and shredded and make everybody look fat compared to me. That's my strategy, and it is what it is. I'm going to keep sticking with it. Um, I got pro card in 2016 for men's physique, but I'm not a men's physique guy. I can't, like, my body just is not that. And I grew up in New York City, in the Bronx and Harlem. I didn't feel comfortable wearing the G string on stage. So it got to the point where when Classic came out, I said, all right, I'm going to go after that. Then I had striated glutes. So I said, I'm just going to go for Classic and I'll win that. And I'll do bodybuilding. So 2019, I wind up sweeping the show. I won those. Then I did my pro debuts in Classic and bodybuilding. Did about 6 shows. Got sponsored with MTS Nutrition, TigerFitness.com, Outright Bar, represent 015 Nutrition for Brandon Curry. So my next moves further is going to be probably, hit a couple more shows next year. And then after that, I have other businesses that I'm coming out with. So that's going to be my next move.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Got it.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? Good morning. My name is Justin Batterina. I got into the industry, I think, back in 2016. I did my first show. It was Gold's Classic, so it's a local one. It's down in South Jersey, a little bit more south than here. Is this considered central or south?
Central, a little bit south, but
A little bit
central.
both. Central. There's no such thing as central, right?
So it would be
It's
south.
North or south. Two different states. They're two different states. They really are. We're Phillies fans down there. I know you guys are New York fans and whatnot. But yeah, exactly. But so I did my first show. It was the first year that Classic Physique was came about. So I just felt like that division fit me. Before that, I played ice hockey, so I was kind of always in sports. Fell in love right off the get-go. So I did Gold's Classic. I did a couple of shows the following year in 2017. And then I made an attempt to turn pro in Classic Physique in 2018. I didn't get it. I got my pro card in 2019 at Universe, so up in Teaneck, so pretty like a local, national show. I did my pro debut at Battle of Texas last December. I got 8th out of, I think it was like 34, 35 guys. So that was, a big accomplishment. Obviously, turning pro is probably the biggest accomplishment I've had in the industry so far. Future-wise, just hope to, keep making an impact. I think I have a unique look to me for Classic Physique. I'm definitely one of the smaller guys. Always come in like lean and kind of just have a pretty, shape and structure for the division, which seems to be like growing a lot. I'm also in the industry as like a coach. I work at a supplement store a little bit closer to me. Um, and yeah, just hope to, keep having an impact with everything that I'm doing. So thank you guys for coming. Yeah.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you. All right, guys. This is Victor. I don't know if you guys know him.
Hey,
but it's,
what's up,
Victor
everybody? How
Martinez.
you doing? Martinez here. I'm not gonna get into all the dramatics that got me into this and all the life's, hardships and all that. I just basically want to keep it as simple as possible and as upbeat as possible. Bodybuilding was not something that was put on me as a goal. It wasn't meant for me to be. Never planned to be a pro bodybuilder. Never planned to be on stage. Never planned on competing. I just taken to the gym by a couple of guys that saw a troubled kid, and they said, you know what? If you get into this much trouble, let's take it out in the weight room. And one thing led to another. Saw a guy, a friend of mine, Caprice Murray. I don't know if you guys know him. Caprice Murray was my, again, real life inspiration after Arnold. Arnold, Sergio Oliva, Lee Haney. Those were to me a myth because they were in magazines, they were on TV and movies. They weren't real. My friend Caprice Murray and winning shows and competing and following something structured, which to me didn't exist. It was literally day by day, not, as, to live your day as if it was your last day. It was because I didn't know how to plan for tomorrow. There was no tomorrow based on where I lived. Competed in my first show, not knowing a single thing, not a single diet. I did everything wrong. I set my dedication to, showing up to training hard. And I did my first show in the Bronx, Elmo Santiago. That's why I started. Again, it was hole in the wall gym. It created a lot of pros. Ronnie St. Cloud, Martin Martinez, Caprice Murray. So that being said, it wasn't something that I did year after year. It was more when I had time or when it was possible. Going to school, always had 3 jobs to bodybuilding lifestyle. It's very expensive to sustain it. What if I made 500? I think I spent $250 just to eat, and it was something that you can do back then, and until your father kicks you out, and because he thinks you're crazy for just working out, and I moved out. I continued working and continued bodybuilding. Finally, I nailed a couple of diets, and by creating those diets, I thought it was as simple as it can be. I was able to put on some muscle, so I lined up a few shows. The first one was the 97, actually 94 was the biggest, best loss I ever had. Why? Because it woke me up to take this serious. I'm not just gonna work out, going to the gym, have 1-2 hours of just getting through the workouts and not taking it seriously. So that woke me up. So getting my ass kicked was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I said, you know what, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. And I came back after 94 and 97. That's when I started basically winning every show I stepped into. And that's when I met my trainer, Victor Munoz, which was the key that unlocked my, mental, again, again, the mental motivation that yes, it's possible. Yes, you can be pro. I think he believed it before I ever did. And then finally, in 2000, he had came up. I think the article was on the poster was in on Flex magazine, and he said, "Look, the Nationals are coming to New York. Last time they were here, Lee Haney won it, and that was enough for me to say, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and it was very, very crazy, dramatic, but it was the only way I could do it, And one was I dropped all my friends, I dropped my girlfriend that wasn't supporting me, I dropped everything because I said if I don't do this show, I will never do anything else. And it was one of those things that in the book I'm reading, it was basically a tipping point. It was a sacrifice I made. Of course, I didn't want to leave my girl. Of course, I didn't want to stop hanging out with my boys. You know, there was some pretty good parties. But it was one of those things I had to realize, you know what, this is the sacrifice I have to make. And it was the best choice I ever made because that year I turned pro, my life changed. I'm here now with you guys because of that decision. And ever since then, I said, you know what, if I can give back, if I can help someone, if I can teach anything to anyone into how I got it, I would do it and not expect anything in return other than the person's success. So being here right now is the best thing ever because again, it wasn't planned. It was more of my destiny. And again, without all the drama or anything else, you know, and what kept me competing all those years, every time I had a son or one of my daughters, I used them as my source of motivation, you know, and to keep my head out of life because life was hard just like anybody else's, you know, except my little bit of icing on the top and you know. So I'm very grateful for every time I stepped on that stage and was able to do a show, complete a show, win or lose. I was always grateful. I was never bitter, and I know people will rub it in every time I would lose a show to somebody who would, you know, who wasn't better than me or anything like that. I let them speak it. I never disrespected the person who was always in front of me. You'll never hear an article as to why I should have beaten him or anything like that. The judges made the decision. It's out of your hands. It's not a race. It's not a boxing match. And it's one of those things that you have to deal with yourself mentally because that will either help you keep going or that will break you and will not, you know, it will stop you from competing. You know, and again, thank you guys for being here. And I look forward to answering any of your questions, to training and dieting.
Thanks, Victor. Thanks so much. All right, guys, George.
What's up, guys? Thank you all for coming. My name is George Peterson III. And just like Vic, you know, bodybuilding was nowhere near on my radar back in the day. I was actually totally against getting too big and putting on too much muscle because for many years, I studied in the martial arts, earned my black belt in Shotokan karate, and I always felt like, you know, I wanted to stay light so I could be quick with my techniques. But, you know, and Bruce Lee is my inspiration. And on reading up on Bruce Lee, I read that at one point he started actually weightlifting to get stronger himself, you know, with his techniques. So that led to me doing the same thing. And in doing that, I joined the gym. And one day I was working out with a tank top on, and I went to the water to get some water. And a guy came up to me. He said, "Hey, do you compete?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, you should." I was like, "Why?" He said, "Well, 'cause I see you. Looks like you have good genetics there." So, I mean, that intrigued me a lot. So through him, I ended up doing my first bodybuilding show. And my first time stepping on a bodybuilding show, I placed top 5. And I was like, wow, that's, you know, pretty crazy. And that led to me actually starting to research bodybuilding. And I started watching YouTube videos from Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, all those guys, you know, from the 90s. And I was like, wow, look at these physiques. And I just started getting more and more hooked. And, you know, I said, you know what, I want to give this a go. I want to really see what I could do here. I ended up winning my first overall in 2012 at the New York Metropolitan. And when that happened, I was just like on cloud 9. I was just, okay, you know, I'm doing the right thing here. This is what I should be doing. But then in 2013, it took a dip. You know, like I went to the national level and I did North Americans, nationals, and I was placing dead last in all those shows. And I started to get very, very discouraged. And it wasn't really just because about the placings. It was more so because I kind of wasn't liking the way my physique was turning out. I felt like I was trying to get big too quick, and that was taken away from the aesthetics that I feel like my physique can show. And because of all the combination of that and placing last, I was like, okay, you know what? I think maybe this isn't for me. You know, maybe that was just a highlight in 2012, and maybe it's time for me to just walk away. So I said, you know what? I'm going to essentially retire, and I basically did for 3 years. I hadn't, you know, done a bodybuilding show from 2013 to 2016. But then, but I was still kind of following up on the sport, you know, just looking what was going on. And I saw this classic physique division come out. and it intrigued me. I didn't really know what they were looking for with Classic Physique, but it interested me because I saw if I was ever going to do this division, I would have to come down and weight, and that's what triggered me, because I always felt like going back to when I was competing in 2013, if I would have tried to come in lighter, I would have looked much better. So by circumstance, I ended up meeting my now coach Justin Miller, and just talking with him, we ended up doing my first Classic Physique show, which is the Eastern USA of that year, and I won the overall there. He said, "Hey George, let's go to nationals. It's 2 weeks away. Let's just do it." So I said, "Okay, fine." So we went to nationals 2 weeks later, and I won the overall there, first ever Classic Physique national champion. And then went on to the pros in 2017. Made it to the Olympia, placed top 3 at the Olympia, and I've been top 3 in the Olympia for the last four years in 2 divisions, Classic Physique and 212. And so I see that this is showing me that when the time is right, things happen. Things happen when it's time. And back in 2013, that wasn't my time to go pro. 2016. This was my time, and I feel like I found my purpose, and I'm willing to give everything into it. And as far as this year is concerned, I'm putting everything into this Olympia prep because, every part of me wants nothing short of that first place. I want that first place, and I feel like it's going to happen. And that's my story.
Thanks, George.
Hey guys, my name is Eric Ramirez. I'm Colombian. I came here when I was a teenager. I always liked bodybuilding when I was in my country, but I always thought it was like, Victor mentioned, Arnold, all these guys that we see. I thought it was like I was never going to make it there. This is like cartoon guys. So I moved to this country. I joined the gym, and I started seeing more people. I was like, this is like pretty close to what I want. So to me, it became like as them. It was never their dream to become a pros. It was never in their plans. For me, since I joined the gym, I always just wanted to be an IFBB pro. I didn't care after that, like, anything else. And this is the honest truth. Like, I just wanted to be a pro. Like, I was already training all the time. At the time, we didn't have the internet that much like people has now. So I was doing some crazy diets, like starving myself. So I just wanted to be a pro. I didn't know how long it was going to take, but in my head, if it takes me to 50, 60 years old, I'm going to keep doing. I'll be that old guy trying to get the pro card, which is nothing wrong with it. But to me, it was like graduating from something that I started I was putting my body through a lot of stuff, sacrificing a lot of friends, doing a lot of things. So I started competing, and we were just talking with George at different shows. I talked to Victor yesterday. We all, like, somehow we always been around each other, even though we are different levels sometimes. I started competing, couple preps, I got different guys helping me, did extra things. I looked like a little zombie, but I still was winning. Victor was telling me, "Oh, bro, what you doing at?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. That's what I was told to do." So then I started, when I was an amateur, just to, short that part out, I was always placing pretty good. It was like first or second, so it was good. Then I decided, back then, to me, the way I was brought up by the guys is you do a local show, you win a local show. When you win an overall or something, you go to New York, you compete in New York, Metropolitan, the big shows. You win those shows. Now you earn your spot in the juniors. You go to the junior show, you win there. Now you can go to nationals, and now you can call yourself, like go for that class. It's a little different now. People like jumped up those parts. So I started doing that. I went to Junior USA's. I ended up placing first in a light heavy. I was excited. I go to the overall, and I had to compete against, at that time, it was his first show. It was Cedric McMillan show, first show. So I'm like, bro, come on, But I got some good pictures. He beat me by a point. Yeah, right. So he ended up winning the overall. He became a pro that year. So to me, that was an exciting moment. From there, then I came back to Jersey. I did another show. I won the overall. I went back to nationals, and I started competing in nationals. My first nationals, I placed 6th. My goal was to be top 10. So to me, I was happy with my 6th place. I guess I was happier than that guy who took first, because to me, that was my goal, Plus, I was already at nationals, and again, I didn't know how long it was going to take me to become a pro, if I was going to become a pro. But in my head, I was somehow I'll make it. So I did that. The next year, I moved up into the heavyweights, talking like with George. when it came down to weight classes. At that time, I was working with George Farah. I was a light heavy. I always was a light heavy. I always was squeezing down to light heavy. I was so afraid of the bigger classes. So I was sometimes maybe over dieting or doing extra things. So I came into the weigh-ins. I ended up being 202 pounds. The quota was 198. And he was like, no, you're staying there. I'm like, dude, if I play 6, 7 as a 198 on a light heavies, these guys are 225. He was like, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. He's like, no, you're not. So I got in and that placing fourth. I'm like, that shows me, like when we were talking, when it comes down to conditioning and everything. So I ended up doing good. I did that. Then I started moving up. Then it was 2013. We were just sharing pictures, me and him. That year, he placed dead last. We just took the pictures and I was in the top call out. Look at how things can change, like you can never get disappointed by nothing, a show or job or anything, because he's on the Olympia now. I haven't reached that goal. Am I going to reach it? I don't know, but I'm going to keep trying, because again, my goal was just to become a pro, get that diploma, graduate, but I'm still, once you get that, you want more. So it became more after that. But he was, dead last. And I was in the top call out. We were just looking at the picture. It was like 30 guys. And now he's prepping for Mr. Olympia, like how crazy it is. How many people probably would have quit? It should have, if everything works the right way it is, I should have been going to Olympia and he was there last. He should have not still be there yet. So it's that comes down to a lot of these things. So that year that happened, I had a sponsor at the time, which I used to get sponsored and get paid for it. That was November. December 2014. December, the company started going down. They started cutting on people. They let me go. I was making really good money. I was in sales plus my sponsorship. So I found myself January 1st with no job, so, and I wanted to do North Americans because I had a good showing that year at Nationals. That, I was thinking there's nobody in front of me no more. Maybe one more guy, because 2 guys got a pro card. Unless somebody else showed up, whatever, I could do this, whatever. I was feeling good. I felt like it was the right moment and I needed to do it. But now I got no job, so at the time I got an unemployment, just being honest. That's until I find something. A lot of friends make some phone calls. They got me a job with a distributor company. This, for supplements, the big ones, you probably know who they are, one of them. And I started working probably around, I think it was February. So I'm like, if I can stay here like another 4 weeks, 5 weeks, then I start prepping for North Americans. 6 weeks went by, I start prepping. 8 weeks went by, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, 11 weeks. So now I find myself probably about 11, 10 weeks out. I was feeling my best. My coach at the time was George. Everything was clicking in and they let me go. So now I get back and I'm like, I keep prepping for the biggest show, and I don't give it 100% because I have to get a job. And now I'm gonna get a job. I won't give that job 100%. So either I got to choose either the show or the job. But if you do the show, you got no money. If you do the job, then there's you have to give everything 100%. So that's, to me, was like, so I always said I always wanted to be a professional bodybuilder, no matter what. Being selfish, I don't know if any guys, we all got different stories, but to me, at any risk, at any point, I just wanted to reach it. I just wanted to get that diploma, graduated from all that stuff that I've been doing in years and friends and everything that I've been putting aside. So I called my mom and I said, listen, Ma, this might sound stupid to some people, to some more people. I'm not saying do these. It's just my story. And I said, listen, Ma, I'm going to keep competing, but I'm just not going to, I'm going to go back on unemployment and it's going to be enough to buy food. And I own my own house. I have my own car, credit cards, and I'm not going to pay nothing. I'm going to straight out 9 weeks. I think it was 8 weeks. And I'm just going to go for the show. My mom is like, you crazy? I'm like, I guess, yeah. So I went home. I did cry. I was scared because I wanted it so bad. I called my coach, George, at the time, and he was very, very expensive coach. And I told him, dude, I can pay you. I'm going to try to do this on my own. He's like, just promise me you give it 100%. No matter what you do, you don't have to pay me now. You pay me later if you want. I was like, fuck, Then I went to the gym. I told my training partner that what happened. And he's like, dude, whatever I got in my house is yours, whatever supplements, anything you need, I got you. We just go. So I let everything go. Everything go. I remember it was August 30th. It was all or nothing. I go to Pittsburgh. I only have won one overall my whole career. And I always thought I was going to get the pro card if I was lucky with the second place, the third pro card, the fourth pro card. I go to Pittsburgh. It was all or nothing. I was like, if I come back from there and I lose this show, I come back to nothing to my house. My bank is sending me letters. My credit is shot. And I don't know what I'm going to do. Or if I come back and if I win, which is a long shot, we're talking about a lot of competitors back in those years more than now, then I'll be motivated as fuck, like things are going to change. So to make this story short, I go there and I not only won my class, but I won my second overall that it turned me into a professional bodybuilder. That being said, I became a pro. I came back here. I'm gonna short everything now after that. Start working, doing my thing. I didn't have to pay for my house. Because I was fighting with the bank to get that thing. That made me save money. From that money that I saved, I put a supplement store. From the supplement store, my bank gave me my house back. From the house, they gave me my house back. I started my credit. From that credit, I met my best friend back in 2005. From my best friend, I had a couple accidents. I go into that. Became my best friend, which is now is my business partner in the gym that I'm about to open up in Linden, New Jersey. And things just turned around when it came to that. But when it became to bodybuilding, when I was up in my gym, I tore my bicep. 3 months later, I had a motorcycle accident. I blew my shoulder. I just tore my hamstring a few weeks ago. So I had a bunch of setbacks when it comes to competing in bodybuilding, which I still try. And I still do. And I did a few pro shows. And some of them I was dead last. Some of them I was third call out. I was in the same. But even though it bothers me, because I had some setbacks, but at least I'm living a dream that I don't know which one of you guys would like to be a pros, and I can be that, like, oh man, I suck. Some guys would just love to be there. Maybe I'm not winners or I'm not where it needs to be. I will be there maybe one day because, if I go back in my life, it always turn around somehow. You just have to be ready when the moment is there. You have to be right at the right moment, the right people, the right time, but you have to be prepared for it. So if I would have not took that stupid opportunity that decision of leaving everything behind, I would not be sitting here as a pro with you guys talking, because I would have missed that show and all these injuries would have came and I probably would have not make it to that point. So if anything out of this is just, no matter what happened, shit bad has to happen for you to enjoy the good ones or the bad ones. As you listen to all of them, they all came back from either earlier negative things to positive, or it can happen after. And then all these guys here are just testament of not quitting. I was talking to these two young kids yesterday. One of them wants to be as big as Jay Cutler. The other one doesn't even know if he wants to be big. But there you go. One of them could be me. One of them is Victor, who never wanted to be a pro, and the other one maybe wants to be. You know what I'm saying? And I told them yesterday, in a few years, maybe you the kids sitting here and we the guys sitting over there watching you guys do the things. As long as you guys don't give up. And whatever dream it is your dream, and just keep going for it. But that's my story. And whatever questions after that, thank you for listening. Just ask. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. And here's Justin.
Hello, guys. Thank you for coming. Justin Rodriguez here. Let me see how it started. I coming from my country, Dominican Republic, by 2010. And like other guys, immigrant from other countries, I started working 8 to 5 every day, 2 years straight, no vacation, everything, because we have family. And my mother was there for that time. No time for hobbies, nothing like that. I'm supposed to be playing for the Yankees, but that's not was my reality. I started training, workout by 2012 with my friends after my work, and like 3 years after that, some girl from Mexico, she asked to me, "Oh, why you not compete?" I say, "You crazy? You lost your mind? That's not for me." Only training for chest and arm. Only need that in New York City for my teacher and everything. That's it. No. You're supposed to compete. You can be a good pro. No, pro? Never in my life. That's not my dream. Only training for every day, One day chest, another day arm, chest, arm, every day. That's it. Uh, that's true. And she told me, I had something for you. Let me be your coach for 1 year, and we can do one show. If you don't win the overall, okay, that's enough for you. 1 year, I don't want to train for compete for 1 year. If you want to do, we can do now. Oh, give me 5 months. Okay, 5 months is good. And after 5 months, I did my first show by 2015 in Connecticut, Powerhouse Classic. I won my class, I won the overall. Um, that's surprise for me because I don't know nothing about bodybuilding, about diet, everything. My wife is here, and she told me, "Why you eating chicken every day? What happened with the rice and the beans? You forget you Dominican? I don't know. She give me broccoli and chicken for 2 months straight. Oh my God, you lost your mind." And no, guys, that was a surprise for me. And after that, Vito told me about his first show and bronze, Vito Legend Championship. And I won the overall in my class too. Thank you, Vito, for that time. And Vito told me
So
too.
far, everybody who's won my show has gotten to become a pro.
There you go, guys. If
You
you're,
guys know if you're gonna do a show, it's a good omen, you know.
Now you know. And after that, I saw Vito by Diamond. He was eating pizza at that time. Yeah. Just coming from Planet Fitness, he told me, "Where you training?" "Oh, Planet Fitness." No, 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 no. You're supposed to be training another gym. Oh, maybe one day let me change something in my life because I have family, I have bill to pay, and I had my work 8 to 5 every day. But now I'll be focused for 1 more year and try to gain some weight because she told me, okay, we go for the car now. We go with the big boys. Are you kidding me? Let's go. Let's do this. And she going to compete on that show too for the car because she coming from Mexico. And in 2016, after this guy, I won the class. I won the over versus Chris Brown 2016.
Yo, let me cut you out because I don't want to talk about this. It's so funny because I was just looking at my phone the other day when he competed, and I sent him a picture, a screenshot, and I saw a text from 2018 that I guess I didn't miss because I wasn't following him or something, and it said, "Bro, what do you do to get so fucking lean or something?" I was like, "Look at this guy just on a fucking show," and I didn't look at it like how everything goes around. You know what I'm saying? Like back then, it was like it was totally different life than what he's living right now.
Yeah. Nothing. I won my car after 2016, and 2017 was my first show pro, New York Pro. I was taking the third place. And now, after that, take it serious, the bodybuilding career, and try to improve every year because I saw if you want something, you need to work hard, discipline. You can do that. You can do that. No matter the place you're coming from, if you don't have the money, whatever, you only need to believe in you, and you have to have something inside you, and you can do whatever you want. That's work for me. That's work for every of you. Yeah, that's it. Not too much to. Yeah.
Nah, that's perfect, guys. So we'll do some questions, but like that's the moral of the story. When you want something, and it's really literally anything in life, if you really want something, you're gonna get it done. But it's dependent on you. You're gonna get obstacles put in your way. You're gonna fail, but it's your decision to keep going and pushing forward. Failures are not disappointments. Failures are opportunities to make things better and keep moving forward. Without failures, you can't improve and become better and better. So these guys in front of you are the testament of what that means. So every time, anybody has a dream and you wake up, and you think you can't get it accomplished, you're not the only one. The only thing that separates you from the ones that make it accomplish and don't is giving up. So that's really what it comes down to it. So, all right, guys, who's got the first question? All right, thank you.
Hey, Mark. So, question for everyone: have any of you had an injury during prep? And if did you follow through with the prep, or did you take some time off to recover and then obviously pick a new show?
Yeah. Well, actually, when I was prepping for the 2012 New York Metropolitan, I did have a shoulder injury during that prep, and it was a weird thing. You know, a little unorthodox how things played out, but you know, my shoulder was feeling really stiff, and I was feeling it whenever I would do shoulder press, whenever I would do bench press, and then just one day, I was doing shoulder press with dumbbells, kind of light, just about 70 pounds, and all of a sudden I heard crack, and then I couldn't lift my arm anymore, and it was like that for about, I want to say 2-3 weeks. And but as far as your question, did I follow through? I did follow through with the prep. I didn't, at one point I didn't at all say, okay, I'm going to pick a different shot. I just said, let me just see how I'm going to keep with my diet, see if I could work around this thing. If I have to use more machines at this point, then free weights, fine, but let me just see. And I went to doctors. None of them could really tell me what the real issue was. And the reason why I say it's unorthodox is because it just started feeling better on its own. And I just had no more problems with it. It's almost like whatever popped there was supposed to happen, and then now it's like just completely fine. I never had any issues from it going forward. But like I said, to answer your question, I just followed through, and I would recommend if you do, say have an injury, if you feel like something is coming on, if you're training something and something doesn't feel right, I would say stop right there and change up whatever you're doing. If a certain exercise irritates it, do change it, do a different variation of it so it doesn't become an injury. But if you do end up, experiencing an injury, definitely have it checked out as soon as you can, but stay on your diet, until you see what the best option is. Maybe the best option would be to pick a different show, but who knows, maybe you could continue on. I'm pretty sure a lot of us know about the story of Dorian Yates when he tore his bicep, but still went on to win that Olympia. And I think he tore it a few weeks out from the Olympia, didn't he? So you just stay on your diet and work around it as much as you can and see what happens,
Yeah, I had my share of injuries. I think, going by the list, I say with one of my first shows, let me see if I can remember. I would have to say it was partial knee tear was my first injury. I was 19, and I still went to do the show. I still kept training one leg. Again, I didn't know any better, but I knew I didn't want to stop. And I showed up, and I think I was the best person training one leg in the show because I just showed that one leg, and I won. That was my first injury. So that kind of set my way to the worst injuries that came after that. I think I partially tore my pec before the 2005 Arnold Classic. It happened about 4 weeks out, and I didn't want to pull out. I said, you know what, my chest is big enough that I can still train everything else. I wouldn't be able to do any shoulder presses, any type of presses. So on shoulders, I did laterals. For chest, I literally did off my countertop, just, bands and stimulation. I could still do bicep. I could still do legs. I could still do back. And I did the show. I think I got either third or fifth place, but I kept going. And but I blew up so big because obviously I couldn't train that much. I couldn't burn the calories, and that's where I have the I think I gained maybe 40 pounds on the rebound. Didn't place too well, obviously, because of the injury. The other injury I had was major injury was my forearm before 2003 Night of Champions, before it became New York Pro. I was only able to push. If I could pull, it had to be through my wrist with the wrist wraps. And I did the show. I won the show. The knee injury before the 2008 Arnold Classic, there was no way around that. It was a patella torn right off the bone. I couldn't do anything. All I could do is let me try to recover as quick as possible. And I was able to come back to the Arnold a year later, which is something that was, unheard of even for the doctors. So that was something that it was a challenge, and I was happy to actually do it. But unfortunately, Kai showed up, and I got second. And again, I wasn't even supposed to be in the show. I wasn't even supposed to compete. I overcame the injury. I found many ways. One thing I didn't let myself fall into was that I couldn't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. I only found ways to work around the injuries, take care of the injuries, supplement. I mean, I went above and beyond on supplementations. I mean, you name it. I went from Chinese herbalist, 2,000 euro, treatments to your basic, supplement store. Anything I can get from there. The other injury obviously was my arm injury. When I broke my arm, again, I haven't trained for about a year and a half. Being a nice guy, again, and I always say now, I even teach my daughter that if you ever say no, stick to that no. Don't let anybody change your mind. And it was trying to please a fan to arm wrestle. So I said no like 5 times. And the promoter insisted, and the photo op turned into a broken arm. And it was, again, can't harp over it. All I said is patch me up and get me out of Mexico, because I don't want to get operated in Mexico. Then most likely will operate the wrong arm, So the closest I can get to without, all the pain and the suffering was to California at the time. My wife, that's where she lived. And found a doctor, and I hung out with a broken arm for about a week. Finally, I took out everything I had because bodybuilders don't really have insurance, everything's cash. I paid for my, it was a MHP event. I would think, they would kind of help, but it was just kind of like, whoa, that's too bad, But you know what? I took out all the money. I negotiated with the doctor. It was a young doctor. He happened to love bodybuilding. The surgery was about 30 grand. He was able to do it for me for 21,000, paid cash. And I competed from the time of the injury. I think I competed, that was in September of 2012. I stepped on stage in May of 2013. And again, this is after a year and a half off, broken arm. I couldn't even move. I had injured my radial nerve. When you have your radial nerve, which goes down your arm, is the worst thing ever, because you cannot even hold a pencil. You cannot make a fist. All you can do is push. You can't pull because you can't grasp anything. But again, I was able to get second. Unfortunately, Big Ramy showed up. And, it was, there's nothing I could have done to win the show, because there was so much buzz that was going on about him. He won the show before I even, anything. So I couldn't, drool on that, and just, all I could do is let me focus now in Toronto. Let me do that show. Again, my arm wasn't feeling right. You got to remember, I just finished recovering. So every single workout was a painful workout. It was, excruciating pain. It was so bad. So I said, let me do Toronto. Let me get there. The only problem is, based on my past, it took me about 6 hours trying to get through, customs, because they didn't want to let me in Toronto. And, I just, lucky for me, it was a lady at the border, I was able to sweet talk her, a few compliments. And had it been a man, I don't know, I would have to bring some gay tactics, but listen, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, my goal was I need to get to the stage. I don't know how, but I'm going to make myself this small, and whatever, face again without any kind of, threat or anything. It was more like, please, you must, it's imperative, and it was just, they let me go in, compete. And thank God I won the show. And then I think any other injuries after that was happened after the show, which was the 2017. I did it was Chad's show over at Missouri, and I had won the show, and I grabbed the trophy just out of just pure excitement. I grabbed the trophy. I didn't know how heavy it was. I picked it up and I partially tore my labrum. And I couldn't work out. And it was the worst feeling because I couldn't even do a single push-up. Yeah, so 2 weeks later, they got me a job in China. And as soon as I landed in China, I was so happy it worked out that way because I think I went to every type of single or different alternative treatment you can find in China. I mean, I think one of them, I don't know what it is or what it was, but all they did was slap me. I don't...
Slapping treatment, I got it. Okay.
I don't know what I'm telling you. I swear, they just said just lie there. They, with their thumb or their knuckles, they hit trigger points, anything through the spine that connected to the labrum, and all of a sudden, I'm just kind of relaxing one moment, the next, I'm getting slapped to a point that I had a tear, and I'm like, they must know what they're doing. I don't know. Then the next one was acupuncture, with electrical stem in it. And by the time I got back 3 weeks later, I was able to, get back on stage, and I was able to do the Olympia. Yeah. They claim it was for circulation, and they say a lot of times a nerve will shoot out and reconnect the nerve right back to the muscle. That's what they said. I'm not going to say they're lying because, again, I was able to work out. And again, I had many other injuries after that. But again, there's only two that I didn't do, obviously, which was my knee and my broken arm that set me back. But you can recover. Don't stop. There's always a way. And don't ever say you're not going to get back, because that's going to be the virus in your head that's going to not let you get back on that stage.
If you're doing a show, I'm not sure that's why you're asking. Just don't quit, man. Go all the way to the end, because things can turn out, bro. Then you regret it. Maybe it's just something that goes away. I don't know where or something.
I'm like you. I tore my hamstring like 8 weeks ago now.
13 weeks ago, I tore my hamstring, bro. But I mean, you're turning from the top, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I got like one of the rares, like 10% from my tibia, went from the bottom.
Oh wow.
But I mean, you probably, I don't know if you're training or something.
Oh, I didn't stop. I did single leg like Victor.
Yeah, it worked, bro. I'm telling you.
It helps you heal.
Just keep
If
going.
you train one side, it helps you heal the opposite side.
It keeps it bigger too, or something like.
Well, you can't train too heavy, because then what the problem is, if you go too heavy just to get through the workout, then you're gonna have a bigger side.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you're doing enough to stimulate and send signals to the injured side.
It's funny because when I was doing junior nationals, I was doing some type of CC squat, and I had a partial quad tear, and that was after I did I think it was the Mets 4 weeks before I went to juniors, and because of that tear, my coach George, he was like no, he wasn't my coach at the time. My other guy was like, train one leg. And that was for 4.5 weeks. I was like, no, I'm not training leg. I mean, if I go to the show, I go with two little legs, not one big leg, one little.
Yeah.
So literally, I just didn't train legs for like 4 weeks, and ended up working out. Believe it or not, I mean, they were downsized, but the separation and everything is just crazy. So I would say don't overdo it, because you don't want to kind of like create a little bit of
imbalance.
But how many more weeks is your show?
6.
Yeah, I mean, you make it, bro.
Oh,
because
yeah.
the last 2 weeks, you can pull out from doing legs maybe a week out. So you only have like 5 more weeks, 4.5 weeks.
Exactly.
And like another, as far as training techniques, if you can't go as heavy, like on say the single leg as you did before, when you have a lighter weight, you can do like time of detention training, where you're going slow, 3 seconds up, 2 seconds down, to make the most out of that lighter weight, make it feel heavy,
For sure, totally.
Or Victor for $29.99 gets slapped around sometimes.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, guys. Anybody else? You go, buddy.
So eventually, I would like to compete on the bodybuilding stage, but I'm very new to it. So when do you make the decision that you're ready to step on stage for the first time? Like you're big enough and that you're ready, you're complete, all that kind of stuff. What do you know?
How old are you?
I actually just turned 20.
That's
a good thing. That's a good thing.
That's good. You're in a good place.
My answer will be, if you're very critical of yourself, you're never going to feel ready. You know, so I mean, if you really want to, just get on it. There's different divisions, different classes that you can fit in right now. You guys got that choice. When some of these guys here, we had no choice, man. Either we were men trunks or women posing suit. They're like, now you guys can do like so many different divisions and can grow into it. So you can start with some men's physique and then, you know, classic, and then move up into, you know, 212, open, whatever it is. I mean, if that's what you want, just get on a diet, get in, and who cares, you know, how much you weigh, get on your best condition and compete. And then from there, you see what you got to keep working on. Get good rebound out of that. And it's just, I don't think it's ever going to be the right time. And you can ask these guys, you just have to go for it, man. Just go for it, do it.
Like you said, it's never going to be a right time. So mentally, you should just prepare yourself. Just set your goal and then go all out. Tunnel vision. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and cannot do. Set the goal, put it in your head, and then that's it. Go and go all out. If something comes in, work around it. Like injuries, anything, work around it. You're young, you can do it. Don't let nobody tell you you can't. Everybody here is going to tell you the same thing. Set your goal and go and do it. Because, I mean, everybody's going to say, oh, my mother's sister's brother's cousin's uncle died, and pet this and that, and injury. Like, so then you're never going to, like, if you start paying attention to the things that really don't matter to the goal, you're going to start finding excuses not to do it. So just do it.
And since you're so new, like, just compare yourself now to like the best version of yourself. You know, don't compare yourself to the top people in whatever division you want to do. I think a lot of people tend to have that issue of like, you know, like you might want to do like men's physique or classic physique, so you look at like, you know, Chris Bumstead, you look at whoever's running men's physique, and you're like, oh, I gotta look like that to step on stage. You don't, like, you know what I mean? You're new to it, you're not there yet, so you just want to be the best version of you. If that's, you know, being shredded and having abs, whether you're not the biggest dude, like you surpassed what you have done for yourself. You know what I mean? So it's always trying to like one up yourself. You know what I mean? Try to, you know, beat the best version of you, and how your cards play, they play. And at the end of the day, it's accomplishments for you. You know, everyone has kind of like a different story when they're stepping on stage. So I think it's important to kind of like be grounded like that, where you're like, okay, like, I'm going to focus on myself and just being the best version of myself. You know, grab a coach if you've never done it before. Maybe try to have them be a second eye for you. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, just be, you know, the best version of yourself, and try to like one up with yourself as you keep going through your amateur career or even into your first show. You know, so.
Just, I mean, for me, it was like I said, the first show I did, I followed Arnold Encyclopedia, which is, you know, I'm following a routine that Arnold obviously is a pro. He's been doing this for so long, and here I am, my first year working out. I was doing everything I wasn't supposed to, following an advanced workout, training every single day, 7 days a week, not dieting right. But I think the drive, the dedication, and the conviction I had to actually step on that stage is what helped me. And had I lost, I think it would have even helped me even more. You know, so waiting for that perfect time, it's gonna happen like one of my training partners. You know, he's been waiting for the perfect look, which will never happen. Right? Yeah. It will never happen. I tell you right now. And all that's gonna do is stall you. You'll never step on that stage. And the weirdest thing is, his son became 18 years old, and he actually did a show before my training partner did, and he did my show in the Bronx. And I look at my training partner, I was like, "You see that? Your son is up there before you." Yeah, no, he didn't win. It was his first show again because he didn't want help from his dad. He wanted to prove to his dad that he can do something, and he did. And I said, "Wow, you know what? I think, you know, your dad's telling me you're proud. So and don't look at it as, you know, your son competed before you, which he did anyways, but it was something that was, again, he didn't wait for that perfect look. That perfect look and that thinking, that mindset is just a wrench you're throwing into your, you know, into your life to advance anything you want to do.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Just also one last thing. I think also the best mindset to have, especially when it's your first show, you know, ever that you're doing, is to not have any expectations. You know, because like when I, you know, was coming back and was gonna try my hand at classic physique, one of the things that my coach Justin Miller would say, "Boy, what do you think? Would I be too big for classic physique?" You know, he said, "Well, George, you know, you might get first, or you might get dead last for being too big." I said, "You know, I don't care. Just help me get in shape, help me look the best I've ever looked ever, and you know, I don't care what happens with that. You know, and that will relax you. You know, and you just go through the process. You know, and I ended up, you know, winning first place in that show. So I think that's the best thing to do is not have any expectations. Don't worry about any places. Just focus on that vision you have of yourself looking on that stage. Just strive for that. And when you bring that, everything else falls into place. You know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm never thinking about the weight because when I won my first show, I was the smaller guy in the show in my class. Heavyweight, my weight was 205. And when I won my pro card, I told him I was the smaller guy too, super heavyweight, 226.
And you know, if you guys know, the cutout was 225. So literally everybody else would have been like, yo, I'm gonna just drop 1 pound, you know, like, but it was his best.
Don't think about your weight, think about your look.
And another thing too, man, there's so much stuff now on social media, internet, Google, that you guys can just research a lot of stuff, man. I mean, just don't go by the first one you see, because there's some stupid shit there. Like, it's some very good stuff. Just pick a bunch of them, put them together, and see which one out of all of them make the most common sense. Or there's a lot of easiest way. Like, you know, I don't know if you're from around here. My man around here, he's a coach. There's a lot of guys that, you know, can help you out, cut all that corners, and cut all those mistakes that it took us longer to get where we at, and they can help you out do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he started straight with somebody who was coaching him of weight from genetics and everything. I didn't have my first coach. I did my own thing for the first 6-7 years every year. When I went into a coach, everything changed. So you know, you guys from around here, there's a guy here that can say coaching too and everything. Just reach out to a coach, something that you can afford. Not everybody. There's different levels of coaches. Doesn't mean because some of them are cheaper or higher, that means, you know, they better than not. It's just find something, get a coach, and I'm telling you, your prep probably be a lot easier than if you try to make it on your own. And then from there you learn. And then you get a different guy, you learn from that, and then you just try out your own stuff if you want to.
My own girl, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't matter. Sometimes those girls be bringing guys a lot drier than freaking stuff like that, man. You never know. Whatever you can afford, or whoever you trust the most around your area. And pick somebody close to you for your first show that they can see you, that you can go out to them, you know, because, you know, it takes a little bit more advance, and they can explain to you how to do the food, how to weigh the food, a lot of things that you probably don't understand, cook, not cook, all that extra stuff.
Yeah.
Pick somebody nearby you that you can afford, let them help you, and just compete this year if you want to, man. You know, just do it. Just do it.
Absolutely. I was thinking about it. I actually just hired a coach now.
There you
Like
go.
a couple weeks ago.
So you're halfway there, brother.
Really, yeah.
Now you have to suffer and eat that, whatever he's eating.
Just to expand on that, focus on posing. Because a lot of people, they focus on their training, and then they focus on getting shredded, but then they can't pose for shit. And then they look like crap because they don't know how to present the physique.
Hey, so what is your guys' like preferred training split?
I guess I'm starting. Something that I started to do leading up to turning pro, before I was kind of like, you know, Vic said, like 6-7 days, like definitely a little bit overdoing it. I felt like I wasn't able to like pack on some size doing that. Just like I was excessive with the weight training because I thought like more is more, you know, more is better, you know. As soon as I started taking a little bit more rest days, like only training like 4 or 5 days a week, I really started to pop a bit more. And then I actually found a lot of success with a push pull arms legs type of routine. So like chest shoulders together, and then like back rear delts, an arm day because my arms were never like a good body part for me, and then a leg day. And then like I might do like, you know, 2 days on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, kind of repeat. Or if I felt good, maybe I'd do like 3 in a row, like, push, pull, arms, rest, and like legs, push, rest, like kind of like pick up, kind of like that. One thing that I've kind of like try to stress to people is sometimes when you lock into a specific day, your week can get thrown off. Like, like if you're a kid, you're in school, you're busy with working, you know what I mean? Like, like if I have a lot going on, it's tough to say like, okay, every Monday is going to be chest day. Because what happens if something pops up and you miss that and it throws off your week? So like doing it where you're not maybe set into a specific day could be helpful. And I've noticed that's helpful for me. And it doesn't really throw anything off. And if I feel like I need an extra rest day, I can take it and whatnot and, feel good. So that's kind of like what has worked for me. At least, like I said, these guys might say something different, but for me, and you got to figure out what works for you too. You know what I mean? And what works for your body, but that's me,
I'll keep it short for me. What I like to do is I'll do like a 5-day split, and I'll either do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, take Thursday off. But if I feel really good, then it is what it is. That's only if like I can be optimal Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If I wake up on Wednesday and I'm exhausted, then I'm taking Wednesday off, and then I'll do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then take Sunday off. For me personally, I can take my day in the middle of the week and at the end of the week. If I take 2 days back to back, I'm addicted to training. So I start feeling small. I'm already small. So I don't want to feel small when I wake up in the morning. You know what I mean? And then I kind of do like a power builder split. It's kind of like a bro split. I'll do chest on one day. I do 2 leg days a week. So quads on one day, hamstrings on another. Separate them so that off day. So Sunday would be off. Monday would be a hamstring day if I'm looking to build up hamstrings or quads. And then my next off day will be before another leg day, just because leg days are more taxing on the central nervous system. You want to recover. So, don't make the mistake of training every day and then you're going balls to the wall and then cortisol goes up and then you look like shit. You know what I mean? You're not going to look hard. You're not going to look vascular.
I don't really have a set schedule, but I definitely change up every 4 to 5 months, just the rotation of my body parts. I like to definitely start the week with shoulders, just because everybody's doing chest, so I want to change it up. I do legs on Mondays. Tuesday, I can do arms. Again, I go back to chest again on Thursday. Then end it with back on Friday. And then I can do again on Saturday, any lagging body part. And that's giving we're at least 4 days out of the week. I'm doing cardio in the morning. I do my abs in the morning. Any small muscle group, abs, calves, cardio. That's 4 days a week. If I could do 5, that's great. Or if I can add an extra, type of training, if it's not boxing or anything like that, biking. And again, that's just anything that will keep my body moving. What I don't do is I don't think I ever stopped. I can't stop training. I can't have longer than a week off that I take a year. Because I feel the longer I take off, I feel my body starts not feeling well. And it's not to stay big. I like to stay functional. I like to stay, very active. I don't mind losing the weight. Last year I was about 260. I settled at 245 and I feel better at 245. I don't want to be big. If I have a show, obviously, that's what you have to do. Since I'm not competing, I want to feel good. I want to walk around, be able to, play with my kids, not huff and puff, going a flight of stairs. And, it's just keep rotating and keep it interesting. And even sometimes once a week, I skip a body part altogether just so I can let it rest. And if I get the body part on the second week, I realize I get a better pump, I get a better feel. And again, it's just psyching out the muscle. I do that to psych out the muscle, and I don't have a fixed program. Once you have a fixed program, your body's just so smart. For some reason, it's just not going to have the same type of stimulation and the same type of feel. So for me, training as much as I can, it's, during the week is not written in stone. There's no rules. I mean, I don't think I even count reps or sets. And I find myself sometimes in the gym a little bit overkill, for about 3 hours, but I do high volume, and there's some days that I can be there for 1 hour and wind up getting the best workout again, because I do the intense, fast workout and they do work. Can't do that every day. I'm not going to do, I started with Dorian Yates, Blood and Guts. I like his type of training. Before Dorian Yates, I read it through Mike Mentzer. And I do love that style of training. The problem with me is with muscle maturity, you're susceptible with tearing up muscle with that type of training. So I can apply it, I can use it, but I cannot do that style of training all the time, again, because it's a high risk type of workout. One working set and one warm-up set with 2 working sets. You're going to get injured. You can't avoid it. It's going to happen. Your muscles can only, handle as much as they can. And again, your tendons. I haven't had an injury in a long while, and I like to keep it that way, And again, I say don't write anything in stone. Go by the way you feel.
Yeah, so my training split, typically the same every week, but depending on if I have to travel, it may change up. But let's say I start the week with chest. The next day will be like an active rest day where I'm doing, it's like Vic said, smaller body parts, calves, abs, do a little bit of cardio. Next day will be back. Next day would be shoulders. The next day will be arms, and the next day will be actually, no, I messed that up actually. So after back, the next day will be hamstrings and glutes. Then the next day after that will be shoulders. The next day after that would be arms, and then the next day after that will be quads. And as far as me putting together my training split, I just put it together in a way where I like to do it where whatever body part I'm training, let's say for today, whatever body part I'm training today won't have any effect on what I train tomorrow. So like I'll never do chest on Monday and then shoulders on Tuesday. I like to make sure that whatever body part I'm doing on one day will not affect the workout for the very next day. Keep it split like that.
Okay, mine have changed a little bit. I'm working with Matt Jensen, and I used to try to do sometimes twice a week things and this and that. Now the only thing that I do kind of somehow twice a week is my hamstring, which it will be only I do back and hamstrings, which is not even hamstring, just like a stiff legs after back, and then I would do chest and triceps, legs, only quads on Wednesday. Thursday's off. Friday is shoulders and biceps, and then Saturday is only hamstrings, which is like my weakness. So that's the way it is. Before I was trying to overdo it. I feel like I think I was just talking to earlier to George's rest. I've been he been pushing a lot rest on me. Like sometimes my appetite goes down and I don't notice it because maybe I'm overtrained or tired. And people be like, oh, overtraining doesn't exist. But when somebody tell you, listen, your appetite is shot, maybe you need to take a day or 2 off from the gym and go back and your appetite goes back to normal again. It's kind of like, it should be the opposite. I should be working out more to be more hungry. So yes, that's basically what I'm doing right now. Try to give my body a little bit more break to heal and recuperate. And that's why that split is that way.
Hi. My training split now, I started my diet this week. I started with 30-minute fasted cardio every day. Monday, train shoulders. Tuesday, back. Wednesday, my quads. Tuesday, arms. Friday, chest. On Saturday, hamstring. My post-workout 30-minute cardio too. That's my split training every day. And Sunday off, of course. I sleep all day.
No, thank you.
All right. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the bikini division?
All right. On what perspective?
I mean, do you have respect for it, like being bodybuilders?
Yes, I have respect for anybody who go through a diet and prep for something and put out. I think bikini is more of a genetic thing, like some of the other classes do. There are some girls who, genetically may be better for wellness or better for figure, not for a bikini. So they have to like overdo things and do that like that. But yeah, I mean, anybody who puts their body through what we put it on, of course, deserves all the respect, because just because you died in as a smaller weight or different class doesn't mean you're still sacrificing a lot of things and putting away, friendships and maybe relationships. And so, yes, I mean, as that perspective, yes, I give it all the respect when it comes to that.
I basically was going to say that I think bikini is probably one of the hardest divisions to judge, because I mean, like if you look at say the top 5 Olympia girls, I mean, you could split hairs and any one of them could look like Miss Olympia. But yeah, I definitely have 100% full respect for that division. I know that the girls all work hard, and like he said, I mean, some girls may have more of a genetic trait for the wellness, so now they have a door open for that. But yeah, I think bikini is a great division, and it's just so hard to judge. It's very competitive. So you're going to be doing a bikini show soon. How's your prep going? Awesome. We'll just keep on going with it.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is a great show for sure.
The lighting is amazing.
Yeah. I actually helped a couple of girls win bikini shows. Again, because I think prepping women is easy. I didn't have my show then. We're talking about bikini just started. It just started, and they wanted me to help them, and they were friends of mine. And I did a barter. I said, if I help you, you have to cook some of my meals. And yeah, well, that was I did the same barter for the 2007 Olympia. Yeah, so that was one girl. I actually helped her turn pro in the other organization. It wasn't the NPC. It was the other organization, and I actually got her ready. And she was shocked at the diet I was giving her because, one, I couldn't put too much muscle on her. I couldn't get her too dry. So leading up to the show, it was more a lot of just functional exercising, some weights, a lot of body resistance. And then I think right before the show, I had her eat pizza. She was so scared, and she won the show, became pro, and she cooked my meals after that. And we only did that once. She didn't want to compete anymore after that. No. Well, when you have a wife, you can't have somebody cook, female cooking for you. It's kind of, yeah. Again, that was a deal we had for that one show. So, and then the other girl, again, it was another bikini show. It was so easy to train her because it was 80% cardio, some training, and she won the show. And I mean, there's not much I can do because I like building muscle. I like getting somebody shredded, and bikini is such a fine line. If a girl's too shredded, she can lose. If a girl builds too much muscle, now she's figure. So that's for me. That's why I just couldn't do it anymore. I love watching bikini. Again, it's entertainment. I mean, when you look at bodybuilding, any type of category, any type of class is all entertainment. Who can bring the best show, who can bring the best look. And I would have to say bikini's great. Anything that has to do with creating a system and a discipline, I have respect for, regardless of what sport it is. I don't care. You look into a guy, that watches, any freaking sport in the Olympics at any given time, where I'm into it or not. I love anything that has to do with competition, prepping, focus, and staying, again, I love it. I love it all.
I will say this, because I know you're going to do the work to bring your physique in the way you want it, but definitely 100% make sure you put extra emphasis on your stage presence, because since bikini is typically that one of those divisions that's so hard to judge, and it can be so close at times, like that your stage presence is what could set you apart from the rest. Because I remember seeing old videos of when Indiana Paulina was winning shows, and she would be the smallest girl up there but be winning because of that sassy stage presence. So make sure you put as much emphasis into that as you do your training, if not more, so that when you step on that stage, you look like the winner right from the jump.
I agree with them both. Like I told him with the posing. So I judge for like 4 or 5 different organizations. And that makes the difference between first and second. Your presentation and how you pose. You can look great, but like I told him, if you're not presenting the package correctly, then we can, from a judging perspective now, I can only judge what I see in those 3 to 5 minutes. So I respect it. Highly respect it. Anybody who diets, I respect it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as everyone up here. I feel like bikini is probably one of the more competitive ones too. Like with I think George said like splitting hairs. Like it's one of those divisions where I feel like, and I could be wrong, the Olympia title has gone between a couple different people the past few years. Maybe, I guess, right? There was new girl this year, new girl last year, new girl the year before. So, and they all look amazing. And there's a lot of competitors, but there's also like a lot of great competitors that do it. So like it definitely deserves respect, just like any other, division. Obviously some of us make fun of men's physique, but that's another story. But for the female divisions, no offense to men, he doesn't like men's physique either. But no offense to men's physique guys. But you respect every division because everyone has to go through the diet and put in the work and train hard. And it's not easy, what we do. And like some of these other guys were saying, like some people are just built for different divisions as well. You know what I mean? Like I'll never be able to do open. You know what I mean? Just like some female that is just, she picks up a 5-pound dumbbell and she builds arms like crazy. Like she can't do bikini. If she gets too shredded, like she's not gonna be able to do bikini. So it's all like relative, I guess, to the individual. But yeah, that some of the hardest working people I know do bikini. So yeah, like you. Yeah.
What's going on, guys? So I have a question. Do you think bodybuilding is a sport or a muscle pageant?
I guess I'll take this inside of the mic right now. I was watching something recently. I'm pretty like set in stone about my feeling on it. Like I do feel like it's the actual show day itself is more of like, I don't want to say like a pageant, but it kind of is. Versus like our whole prep and our whole year leading up to it is a sport. This is the toughest thing I've ever been a part of. I've played sports growing up. Like this is by far a 24/7, 365 thing. So like I get it. Like I can't argue that it's not a sport or it is a sport. Like I kind of feel like it deserves like respect regardless of what category you want to put it in. Just like if you look at those beauty pageants, like it's very respectful and like it's like they work hard for whatever they're trying to do. So it's kind of like the same thing,
Quickly, in my opinion, it's kind of like both. But if you look at a football player, he's got to train with weights, right? You look at an MMA fighter, they got to train. Anybody who trains is technically bodybuilding. So it's like 50-50, because any pro athlete or athlete in general has to train. They have to bodybuild. They have to get their body. They may not bodybuild for the stage, but they're bodybuilding because they're building their body specifically for what they're doing. If it's baseball, they need to hit the ball. They need to catch. They're working on speed, agility. Football players, depending on if you're a lineman, you got to train a specific way. We just train to look a certain way. So I think it's 50-50 in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely 50-50. I say the training, the going to the gym every day, the challenging yourself, the lifting the weights, because they consider powerlifting a sport. We go just as heavy, again, without trying to break any records. So in the gym, it is a sport. Once you get to the stage, it's a muscle pageant because you're not being judged, again, on how fast you can go. You're being judged by, judges that have different perspective, different look. They like different body types. So once you go to the stage, it's no longer a sport because now it's basically a decision, same exact way as a pageant. So that's the only thing where we get kind of flack against bodybuilding, where, I think Lee Priest said it best once, you know what?
if you guys are close or even a tie, I think we should have a 100-meter dash, to pick the winner in the end. And then that will make it a full sport.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much go with them, 50-50. I mean, I definitely see it as a sport, but like I said, once you step on the stage, it's definitely a pageant. I mean, it's a sport. It's a subjective sport as compared to, other, sport, mainstream sports, like when in basketball, you can't dispute if someone dunks the ball. You can't dispute if someone scores a touchdown, but on the stage, it's very subjective. You may have some, someone who's, judging may, favor, like more streamlined physique, and you may have someone else who favors a more mass monstrous physique. I mean, so that's the pageant aspect of it, but it's definitely 50-50, I would say.
I'll just say, I guess it is a lifestyle, and then we choose to display it in front of some judges while we have work, in the meantime, whatever. So it is like, basically it's a 50-50, but I like to call it more like a lifestyle when it comes down to bodybuilding that we displayed whichever way we want to on any class that we went.
Well, to me, it's the hardest sport I ever tried because before I was a baseball player, and you can be a baseball player 2-3 hours a day, but you need to be bodybuilding 24/7. You can play a game, and after that, the guy go at ring, and they can eat whatever they want. Even the professional baseball player drink alcohol, whatever. But to be a bodybuilder is too hard to get a regular life. If you don't believe, ask him to my wife. Yeah, man, it's too hard. For me, it's more sport than the muscle contest.
So there's a lot of people in here that compete. There's a lot of people that, of course, want to start out. What would be your best advice to give to them? So say somebody's watching you guys, or somebody's going to the gym, right? Because now when we go to the gym, we see a lot of social media fitness, right? So what would be advice for those individuals who are starting out? What's the right steps? Do they go through the social media fitness where they're basically getting judged on social media through like their videos they put up? Or what's another route they can go? Because again, you guys see it in the gym too. It's a lot different than it was a little bit before. What's their best way to point them in the right direction so they're not just lost in that social media mix?
I mean, I would say because social media, regardless of anything, it's definitely part of the game now. I mean, the social media is how you're the tool to market yourself, to market your brand, as an IFBB pro. So it's definitely part of it. I mean, like, I always watch these debates online, when they ask bodybuilders from back in the day, would they have gone on social media if it was around back then? And sometimes they would say no. I don't typically believe that. I mean, I believe that if social media was around back in those times, they would use it because it's a tool to market yourself. But what I say though is don't forget what brought you to the dance. You became a pro through hard work, focusing in, and not letting anything distract you. So you have to find a balance between keeping that fire lit, going in the gym, going balls to the wall, training your ass off, laying it all on the line, and at the same time being able to market yourself on social media, and don't, try not to fall into the trap of just posting something just for the sake of posting. I would say make your posts mean something, make them meaningful. If you're going to be doing something for motivation, inspiration, to promote your business, excellent. But when it's just you're doing it, just solely for likes and comments, I would say try to not fall into that trap.
I mean, it's weird because when we started, you talk about even, in the golden era, I mean, 70s, 80s, 90s, you go to those areas, those years and era, everybody looked good. Everybody trained hard. There was no social media and everybody was huge. And now, fast forward, you guys, in order for us to learn something, we had to go to the library or wait, a month or two for the magazine to come out
to read the good articles that were written, 3-4 months prior. But we got the information, we read it, we learned from it, we applied it, and we got great at it. Now you fast forward social media, for some reason, there's more information. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of pros on it. And yet, a lot of the kids don't know a single goddamn thing.
Victor,
Like,
let me add to that one real quick, because
Yeah.
that's part of it. What I was just thinking is that's the issue. You said back in the days, we waited some time to get that information. And before we get the next information, we had to apply it for some time. Now they get that information instantly. So today they apply it, and tomorrow they apply a different one, and the next day apply a different one, and the next one a different one, and they don't stick to one. So I think that's like where Victor is coming. Like that's the issue. It's too much information, and they keep applying it every day instead of just like finding one information and then stick to it, and that's it. That's basically like I think what I get from what Victor is saying too.
If I can remember, short-term memory loss. It was, I can remember. It was more, so you have George, he writes, his workout, You see Justin doing his routine. He's basically, even if he doesn't say a word, you just watch him, you can actually see his form. You have Eric. I mean, guys here, you like to speak. So a lot of your information is verbal. You just sit back, you listen. And for some reason, I feel like they're watching, but they're not listening. They're just watching, but not really all that, looking. So they're not taking in a lot. So as much as they have the information, I don't think they're applying it. And I think they're looking more forward to doing that right lighting post, to post on the social media. But now, for some reason, there's less bodybuilders than there ever was, ever, because now the look is not being a bodybuilder, because bodybuilding is scary. Nobody wants to do bodybuilding. Nobody. People like to keep, 1 foot in life and 1 foot in the gym. And as long as they have the abs and enough chest to look good, I think they're happy. I think there's more, settling. They're settling for what, they're just, happy with what they have, happy with where they're at. So they're not pushing to that bodybuilding threshold of shutting down the pain and the gain that, that you need to get big. That's scary, is deterring, and very few people are doing it, and that's the issue right now. So social media is a blessing, one, because you can promote yourself. It is great. I think more people are getting to know more bodybuilders now, and is actually waking them up to all the bodybuilders in the past that they didn't know about. Now kids are getting to know who they are, what they were, how they got started. So it does help. So it's both. It's a blessing, and it's just, a bad thing, because I think it just got
kind of like Vic's describing. Like, that's okay if they don't really want to get too much into it and they want to just mess around with the show here and there and they're not too serious about it. Some people just want to dabble a little bit. What I can say, if you are getting into it and you really want to excel and like know more about it, is like learn the origins. So like before bodybuilding, when I was playing hockey, I wanted to know everything about hockey, everything about how it started, about the first teams, about the best players, about where, how far it's come. And, I'm 25. So I kind of, when I started competing in 2016, social media was a thing, but I didn't really get into bodybuilding from social media. I found like a YouTube video of like Jay Cutler training. I was like, oh, that's kind of intriguing, right? And then I kind of like watched Pumping Iron. I got the encyclopedia. I watched Generation Iron. That's where I learned about him. You know what I mean? Like, and I learned like the origins of what happened, and that's what like fascinated. I didn't learn about it through social media. It's a big tool, but I feel like learning how it started has helped me like love it more and grow more and try to be better, versus and like learning from these guys who have done it like, very, very well. and not getting distracted by all the talk that is out there nowadays, because a lot of the stuff that we do and that a lot of these pros do is basic stuff. And when you try to overcomplicate things and try to find a secret way to do something else, it's not going to be the best way to do it. And I just feel like if you start from like square one and like learn the origins of whatever sport you want to do, right? Because like we said, like if you're not that serious about it and you just want to like, you're shredded and you got some abs and you want to step on stage and wear the board shorts and kind of just do some poses like that, like there's no problem with that, you know what I mean? But if you're really, really serious about it, you want to be able to have the conversations with guys that have been around and know the industry and have those, like I said, those talks and be able to have knowledge on it. I think that's important.
I agree with them all. Social media is a gift and a curse because, like they were saying, it provides a lot of information, but the basics is what builds the foundation. So if you see somebody who's on social media and they're doing like, a backwards, upside down, single leg press, like you don't really need that acrobatic type of move to build quads. The basic movements is always going to build the muscle. I see him do it all the time with a piece of pizza in his hand. It's a tool. So if your goal is to be an IFBB pro or you want to be a pro athlete in general, it's a tool to help market yourself, to get you in better positions so that other people can see you. But don't make it like, oh, every time I go to the gym, it's a photo shoot and a videography shoot. Like, we're here to train, right? So, I mean, if you're sitting there trying to find the best lighting and the best angle for the best picture just for a post, are you really training? Because to me, that's a photo shoot. I'd rather just throw my hoodie on, go train, bang the iron, and if someone caught a good clip, great. If not, okay. I feel like social media is a gift and a curse. Because people get so much into oh yeah, I'm going to do the social media thing. Yeah, I'm going to blow up. I'm going to make money. You're really not going to make that much money. You can, but I mean, there's so many other people out there. So priorities is what I'm trying to get at.
But I think you can all agree that bodybuilding has become a ageless sport. Anybody at any age can do it. And there are a lot of masters divisions now. Do you feel that there will ever be or should be a masters division at the Olympia?
Yeah, they had the men Masters Olympia, which was over 50. I think Dexter won them all, which wasn't fair. I think they should have not let Dexter compete in it because they made it for him, and I think they stopped it because it was only going to be for him. So Masters Olympia, I think, is great. I think it was Youngblood that was winning. I think there was a gap in between where they did stop it. I think his last name is Youngblood. Remember, he always used to show up shredded. Yeah, and older. He was a judge too at one point, and he was always shredded. Not shredded. He was vascular. He was very vascular, but I wouldn't say shredded because he was so vascular, but you couldn't see any muscle detail. So when that's the confusion of being shredded and vascular. He was it's one of those things that you could. Yeah, it was very veiny, but you couldn't see any depth in his muscle, but he would win. He would win, and he won. And I think after that, I think the organization was more scared of having people over 50, in their 50s, training that hard to step on that stage because it's not Masters golf. It's still bodybuilding. You have to put your body through the extreme of dieting, dehydration, and everything that's, that is against you staying healthy. So I think they deviated from continuing the Masters because of those reasons, because they wanted Masters, but they didn't want to get into the whole spiel of putting them at risk, so they should have it. I think they should have different rules for it. And I think they shouldn't have people with the best genetics like Dexter compete in it because it's just what's the point?
Dexter's he's genetically cheating.
Yeah, genetically cheating, exactly. Yes.
Where do you go with it? Do you just say to somebody, well, you reach a certain age and you can retire?
No, I think they should host them. I think they should host them. I do have masters in my show. Again, when women bodybuilding stopped and they took it out of the Olympia, I took it upon myself because I am the promoter and I left it open as women's bodybuilding. And then finally brought back women's physique. Yeah, so I mean, thanks to Wings of Strength for bringing it back. I think it's unfair. All these women been training all these years, building all this muscle, and then all of a sudden you take away the platform, based on one thing, which was money. It was just money. It wasn't anything else. You know what? Make a smaller venue, put it on a different stage. It doesn't have to be, something grandiose, but keep the platform because they are training, they are loyal to the organization, and they should have kept it. I think it should have never have gone anywhere. And again, based on money, they took off women bodybuilding. They brought bikini. They focused more on the bikini because why? It was more of the 18 to 28. You have a lot of people watching it, and they went more with the popularity of young, hip, and they didn't like the whole fact that women, muscle, the stigma, look like men, all that. I think they were more afraid of that. I think they should have been bold and brave, kept it, and just kept rolling with it. Add the other categories, and again, they added men's physique again because of money. Now you're looking at one men's physique class having 40 guys, and now you look at bodybuilding, you're lucky if you had 8 guys, and that's what's happening now. I think you can get a pro card getting 3rd place now. I think I don't know. I think it's like they're giving out pro cards, but I think is doing them a disfavor because they are turning pro as a 2nd place, but then once they turn pro, basically their career is over because they're still competing with those 1st place guys. So they turn pro and 5-6 years ago, and you're like, you're pro. I never, which show do you win? I didn't win. I got 2nd. I became a pro, but they never got to achieve that winning, pro look. So now you're pro, you're competing, but you're still behind because you gave a pro card on a 2nd place. So it's one of those things that yes, I think they should have masters. Again, health first, obviously, with some tighter rules and what not to use and what not to do, and definitely support it. And I still will have it in my show.
I'll throw a question.
Tomorrow.
So Vic, you're competing again? That's where I'm hearing.
Competing? No.
Are you going back on stage yet? Because you look great.
No. To compete for me before it was money. Again, it was I like to compete. I have way too many kids. All my money goes to my kids, and I don't mind that. They go to the best schools. They have the best of everything when it comes to education. That's why I put my money on. I would not spend 15 grand on myself to be subjective, to have a biased judge. They want the young guys. They want the young guys, and I don't blame them. If I was to step on stage, it was more of a thing to say that, yes, I can do it. Yes, I did it the last 2 years because my client funded my competition. I told him I'm not spending a single dollar out of my pocket to get myself on that stage. He said, well, I'll pay for it. And I said, okay, you do that, I will, because I do love it. I love the prep. I love just getting ready for it. But when you have my 1-year-old, 2-year-old running around, driving me nuts in the middle of dieting, and you're kind of like staring a blank stare, is difficult. It's very difficult with the kids. It's just challenging. When you have a guy who has no kids, it's just him, a job, and he's telling me he can't compete, I'm like, please, you got to tell me something better than that, man, because a lot of us have way more, we do way more, we challenge ourselves, and we still manage to get on that stage. So for me, there's no point in me stepping on that stage because I'm taking away time from my kids, my family, and just to, be up there and just, I've been there, done that. I don't want any more trophies. My biggest goal and my biggest competition right now is raising good kids.
A fan of the sport, man, and growing up in the sport in Jersey, I guess all of us can agree that Victor probably has nothing to prove anymore unless it's throwing it for himself. To me, he's one of the greatest, and not because he's sitting here. Even when I'm on my younger show, like I was talking to him one prep, I just went home yesterday and I was talking about, like, thinking when I told him about some stupid stuff that I was doing before getting on stage, and him walking with me into the Tribeca show years ago, telling me something when he was like out there. I was just this guy going into a Tribeca local show. Like, it's just, if you're the fan of the sport and you don't know who Victor Martinez is and what he has accomplished and what he could have been and not been because of many situations, then you got to do your little research, and start doing that. And just because of that too, I mean, I was just asking him when his show is, because this is what it's something that we used to do before. I mean, if you guys are here, some guys are here just for fitness, some guys are bodybuilding, but everything I used to do too is when I was coming out, I went to every local show and supported. And people be like, oh, you have somebody competing, you have a friend competing? I'm like, no, because you never know that one kid that I'm sitting there watching could be Mr. Olympia in 10 years. I was like, yo, I saw him win his show. He'd be one of my guys because just going to local shows. And you guys should go, and if you like the sport and you guys want something good for this sport later when you guys doing it, go and support those local shows. It costs about $40, $30. We spend more money on other things. Support the show, watch the guys, because then, the sport grows. And there's something for you guys later when you guys become, that one person to do it. So, on my opinion, I mean, I just wanted to say that in front of everybody, not just to him, that I guess we all agree that for us, Victor is the man. You know what I'm saying?
No, thank you, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, just like Eric said, a lot of times, yes, I haven't been competing, but, I want to stay home with my family. I want to stay home. My kids are growing fast. I mean, they grow so fast that when they're babies, I think I smother my kids, kissing them all day and just playing with them. But when there is a show, regardless of how big, how small, it doesn't have to be a national show, I support every single category. I sit through the bikini, the classic, I like seeing the athletes. I want to sit there. I want people to see that I'm there. And again, Eric said it, do you have an athlete? No, I don't. I'm here basically to sit down so people can see that you can just sit there and the athlete sees you, the judges see you. It's the support, because right now we are minuscule when it comes to any type of events, shows, or anything. We're still minuscule in the industry. We're small, very underpaid. This is all pure love. This is that one, thing that you love, and nobody else loves it as much as you. And all you can do is show up, support it, back it up, watch it. Again, whether it's women's bodybuilding, whether it's anything, just it goes a long way, because in some countries, I have a friend in Bahrain. I think he never even won a show, but because he made it to the Olympia, his government gave him a house. In another country, I know, again, the guy made it. I think he got like second or third. He got a car, $100,000 car. What we have in this country is we have a dime a dozen. We have the best athletes in the world. Government's not going to give you anything. Everything's contracts, so being, from these small countries and seeing how they are loved based just by being there, I think that's great. And that's what you don't get here. There isn't going to be a parade if you win the Olympia. You're going to get a pat at your local gym, but yeah, you're going to get a pat up. Yeah. Yeah. No, different treatment. Rami didn't even win his first Olympia just by being there and getting the placing he got. He goes to Egypt. I mean, he got the welcoming of like somebody who just won the World Cup. And by seeing that, it was like, wow, you know, I love that. You know, even watching, when I watch soccer, like I said, I watch every sport. When Colombia, they didn't even win. Brazil, they didn't even win that year. You know, I think they were already out, you know, 4th or 5th place. But when they landed, just the love and support that people get, it's just amazing. You know, my number one fans are not even from my country. They're actually from Brazil and Russia, you know, and China, you know, which is like, it's insane, you know. So you appreciate it and you love it. And again, you know, it is a case by case basis. You know, I mean, you see somebody training, I see a kid in the gym, whether he's competing or not, he's doing something wrong, you know, all I can do is, hey, listen, let me show you how to do it a different way. I never say, let me show you how to do it the right way. Because once you say that, you're telling them they're wrong and you're changing the mindset. You don't want to say wrong, you know. My main thing is, I want you to keep doing this, you know. I'll help you whichever way. You're not going to get a bill on the mail from me. You know, I'm doing this just because of the love. So the pure love, this is why we're here now. This is why you guys are here now. And it is the love of the sport. That's it. Or pageant.
That's a good point Victor made. Listen, some of you guys might win local shows. Some of you guys might go even further and further. The one advice that I can tell that I learned from meeting all these guys in the past couple of years is the best individuals are the ones that are humble. So in other words, Vic, he's a legend, right? But how humble is he? It'd just be like a regular guy you met at the gym who's helping you out versus somebody just brushing you off because, you know, they have X amount of followers on social media, so they think they're great. So always stay humble and always help other individuals because you were in that spot too. They were in that spot. So that's it. And huge thank you to these guys because like I said, these guys help me a lot. They really do for the brand. So I can always call them up and they never ignore me. They always pick up. So